Welcome to Ginger Media Channel. This is the channel where we explore the truth behind the headlines. Mbaka, Kumuyi, Bakare Adeboye, the four Christian pillars for Buhari's murderous regime. Written by Charles Ogbu. Throughout history, every tyrannical regime has always been premised on certain pillars from which it derives its oxygen. Sometimes it is the religious elite who makes themselves available as spiritual pillars to the evil regime. Other times it is the traditional elite or even the business elite. But since Africa became hopelessly addicted to religion, bad rulers now prefer having religious leaders as their main backers. Because the government knows they control the people by virtue of their claim to hearing directly from God. The government no longer bother trying to gain the trust of the people. Why would they? Who cares? They simply find a way of controlling the religious men who control the people. After all, if you control the men who control the people, you invariably have controlled the people. If you want to truly fight any autocratic and murderous regime, just identify its pillars and fight them first. Who are the pillars of Buhari's murderous regime? In Buhari's murderous regime and terrorist-friendly regime, Pastor Enoch Adeboye is the religious pillar. Adeboye is not alone in this. There is another Yahoo pigeon. We call them pigeon men of God in Enugu, who goes by the name Reverend Father Mbaka. Remember, Mbaka this week said that he spent 71 million per month on giving alms and giving help to people. The question that everybody with any grey matter between its core must ask Mbaka: how did he get 71 million that he dishes out every month? What level of tax does Mbaka pay? And there is another elderly clergyman known as Kumuyi, who once enjoined Nigerians never to criticize President Muhammadu Buhari. And there is yet another one, by name Tunde Bakare, who sees himself as Buhari's successor. A man who woke up one day and said, God told me that I will be the next president by 2019. Suddenly, 1 week later, he said, I will not contest the president if Buhari will contest. And finally, he told us, God said I will take over after Buhari. He talks about as if God is someone on Ogogoro that only speaks whenever he has consumed maybe 20 bottles of Ompa. If you are looking for religious dealers, because we do no longer call them leaders, providing the spiritual oxygen for the sustenance of the Buhari regime, do not look beyond these four men. But Adeboye and Mbaka are the most visible. Of course, there are numerous imams playing exactly the same role for the government by brainwashing their people in the mosques with the idiotic narrative that the security in the north is a divine punishment from Allah for some unnamed sins. That is the level religiosity has actually brought the Nigerians to its nail. It is an unbelievable thing happening in Nigeria today. It is not enough to bow to pressure and join the protest against insecurity. Even the man called Adeboye that protested, suddenly when the security questioned, he said no, he only did prayer march. He couldn't even stand for the things he believed in. It is more important to do so honestly and genuinely by blaming the security problem on the president and commander-in-chief, just like the current president did today, or rather recently, instead of hiding behind God to shield Buhari from blame. Let's face it, our security challenges are man-made. You remember once more, when Ihejrika was pushing Boko Haram, certain set of people from the north said that any attempt to eradicate Boko Haram is an attempt to eliminate the north. It is solely caused by President Muhammadu Buhari. The issue of security as it is today is caused by no other person but President Muhammadu Buhari, when you are busy releasing arrested Boko Haram terrorists back into their business of terrorism, at the same time providing state cover for Fulani terrorists, herdsmen, how do you expect a country not to be bewildered by insecurity? How come? Recently, we have equally seen how repentant, unquote, Boko Haram members coming from Niger Republic and get flown by our choppers, whereas our military cannot even see water that they drink. Pastor Enoch Adeboye should stop that silly and deceptively hypocritical game of telling us that God is the only person that can solve the security challenges. Yet, he asks people to pray. The same man that will ask you to pray for protection would be walking around with security men, welding gun, ready to shoot at any person that will come close. You ask yourself, is the same God is asking you to pray no longer at work? Security challenges, God has nothing to do with this. When it comes to security, it has nothing to do with God. Adeboye should instead talk to his friend, Muhammadu Buhari, and advise him to stop brazenly and blatantly empowering Boko Haram by releasing arrested members of the group in the name of rehabilitation. Or rather what they recently started calling de-radicalization and the reintegration into the society, which we think is an absolute nonsense. If you rise against the state, all you deserve is the ultimate prize. Adeboye should prevail on Buhari to prosecute the Fulani headsmen and label Maeti Allah a terrorist organization. There is no security problem we are facing that is not linked to either Boko Haram, Fulani headsmen, terrorist headsmen, bandits, and all come from one place, the north. And the Buhari regime is openly in bed with these two terrorist organizations. Is Adeboye the CEO? We no longer call him the general overseer. Rather, we call him the chief executive officer of the RGGC franchise. The way we have McDonald's franchise, Chicken Republic franchise is the way these churches are. Is Adeboye not aware of what is happening? Why is he linking God? Why is he linking God to what is clearly Buhari's fault? Sometimes, honestly, speaking truth works magic than insincere prayers aimed at deceiving the people. In the biblical days of the old, men of God were the conscience of the society. But today in Nigeria, what do you have? You only have men who are willing and ready to take money. Take money. For how long shall they continue taking this money? They feared no one in the days of the old. They spoke truth to power. When King David murdered Uriah and took his wife, Prophet Nathan came straight to him and told him his evil to his face. Jeremiah was called the weeping prophet for a reason. Elijah, Elisha, and even John the Baptist and God. Those men spoke truth to power. They do not care what the power could do. Today, we have our own men of God who would rather tell us to pray to God to solve security problem because they are in some intercourse with the same government directly responsible for the security problem. The same Bible, Dr. or rather Enoch Adeboye reads, says in Psalm 31, grab your Bible, in Psalm 31 verse 8, speak up for those who cannot speak for themselves. Ensure justice for those being crushed. Where is justice for Evangelist Eunice Elisha? Remember her? The lady who was one of Adeboye's pastors butchered right here in Nigeria on the streets of Abuja for preaching in a street that houses a mosque, with the police releasing all those arrested for her murder. Where is justice? Where is justice for Bridget Abohime, beheaded in Kano, with Kano state government declaring that her killers have no case to answer, though forcing the Kano Magistrate Court to free those arrested for her murder. Yet, this happened under Okorocha, and Okorocha could not do anything because the same man was in bed with bad governance. Where is justice in Nigeria? We at Njenje Media must keep asking, where is justice? As a stakeholder in the Buhari's government, having donated one of his pastors as the VP, why didn't Adeboye insist on justice for the above victims since their killers are all known? Of what use is connection and frequent visit to Buhari if we cannot use that time to champion justice for victims of those religious killing? As we say these things here at Njenje Media Studio, 2 Jukun's farmers have just been beheaded by suspected herdsmen in Bakare local government area of Taraba State. And I can swear, we here can swear in our village deity that there will be no justice for them. The chairman of CAN, Christian Association of Nigeria, in Adamawa State from Jimeta, was beheaded by Boko Haram. Did you hear anything from the president? Did you hear any comment from the vice president? Neither did you hear any comment from Adeboye, Bakare, Mbaka, and the rest. A culture of impunity is what breeds crime, and it is the culture of impunity that the Buhari regime has successfully established. Is Adeboye not aware? Is Adeboye not aware of the things happening, to the point that even Adeboye himself came out to the street to protest, and he eventually denied that he did not protest, rather that he did a prayer walk? Hi! Ewo! See, we need to stop being foolish Christians. Christians, your must too. Stop being foolish Christians who hand everything to God because we are either too scared to talk to government, enabling the killings, or we are too compromised to care. We must care. We as Christians must care and speak truth to power. Buhari is doing exactly the job of an ethno-religious fundamentalist, and that is why he remains popular among his fellow ethno-religious irredentists. Boko Haram, as it is today, is doing its own job of killing and maiming and beheading mainly people of opposite faith and moderate Muslims. Even Buhari, as it is today, his presidency has been useless to the whole Nigerian and to his own state. A man called himself a president, yet he cannot protect his people. The Fulani headsmen are doing their job. Every one of them is protecting their own constituency. People like Adeboye, who are Christian leaders, are supposed to act like the good shepherd who lays down his own life for his sheep. Anyway, why would they even lay down their lives? Because they fly in private jets, but with money from those who cannot even afford 2 square meals. They pay them money to protect them with their prayers, yet they move with convoys and armored cars. In a situation where human lives are being wasted, you can't afford to be here and there at the same time. It is either you are with the people, in which case you will join them in calling the commander-in-chief to stop empowering terrorists, killing innocent people, or you are on the side of evil regime, in which case you will shy away from mentioning the government but be busy creating the devilish and misleading impression that the security breakdown is divinely inspired and will require divine intervention. What an arrant nonsense. Enough of this deception. Enough. Here we are. We have a man in bed with the oppressor. A man called himself Mr. Mbaka. And he prophesies. He says that Hope Uzodimma will become the governor of Imo State. Mbaka is a blind fellow. He saw no vision. He only got information from the APC that they were going to do this. He's no seer and he sees nothing. Once more, this is Njenje Media Channel. Subscribe to the channel. We will endeavor and we must keep bringing you these analyses that you will see no place else. I am the only and yours presenter, Mike Udenta. Subscribe to the channel for more updates like this.